Smith 6 here. I'm doing another video. Last year or so I had the TCM 38 Super conversion I was working on. Said I'd go through it one of these days for as far as how that all goes together. Basically a couple of things you probably need. You need 38 Super barrel. It's got to be ramped. I picked this one up at CDNN. It's $30 some, Sig Sauer barrel. Didn't come with a link. I actually took a link off of one of my old 1911 factory. It was a factory Springfield barrel. The biggest thing you have to do is flare the into the face of the bolt. And I mean, you may have to do some lug fitting. I did not. Everything locked up. It lined up. It was the moon and the stars aligned, and guess what? It fit perfect. No major issues there. I did change out the barrel bushing. Could you have used the stock barrel bushing? Yeah, you could. It was a little sloppy. It was a little sloppy even on the 9mm and the TCM barrel. So I opted to go with the Briley, the sphere bushings. They've been around a long time. That way I could get a specific one for the 9 TCM and one specific sphere. So it's basically just the inner sphere. They turn and pop out, and they're just a titanium nitride or something, but they don't really seem to ever wear, and you can replace these. These are fairly inexpensive. The bushing itself with the thing, little bit of cost there, more than the barrel. But you know, having these with this is the Smith 945. Some people haven't seen these. Mitchell did a review, kind of a blast from the past. I've got a few of these, and they run the Briley in them. Works. Good bushing system. The only other thing I did is, as far as changing out when I did that conversion, is I did do a new slide stop and link pin. I went with an oversized. The TCM one was fine. It was just a little sloppy for my likings, but it functioned fine, it worked fine. I just felt that it wasn't quite. I think it could have been better. TCM's a good gun. Some people call them cheap guns. I call them an inexpensive gun. But you know, with a little bit of work, if you have the knowledge and the good set of files and the knowledge, basically, and time, you can turn these into a pretty nice gun. Fit and finish wise, out of the factory, how the safeties latch, you know, the fitment of the beaver tail, everything. You know, the play and the hammer, they're tight. They're good guns. Anyways, on with the video. So once you get the bushing off, which is pretty tight, where the ramp actually meets part of the ramp within the gun, when it's actually out of battery taking on a new round, is perfect. It's nice and flush. It's not hanging over. There's no lip or anything. You know, they are manufactured parts. Could somebody else try this and it may not fit quite right? You know, you may be in for a surprise. You never know. Again, kind of a disclaimer in the middle here. You want to do this, you wreck your gun, you wreck your gun. Sometimes that's what it takes to learn. Basically, within the slide, I'll show you what I did here, because the 38 Super is a semi-rimmed cartridge. I basically knocked the edges, I don't know how easy this is to see with this camera, of the face at a taper. I knocked the edge down first with kind of a decent square file, and then I have I call them spoon files. They got different names. Looks like a duckbill. And then there's no file on the edge, and it's real thin. It gets right in there, and you can put the contour on it that you want exactly. And you can do a lot of dry fitting with a 38 Super case. You take the firing pin out. You can pop primer out of a case. You can line these things up as long as your lugs are locking up good and it's all there. You know, I did put I did Dykem it up and check fit and everything checks out. I mean, it's decent. It works good. Still shoots 9 fine, still shoots TCM fine. Basically, it is what it is. The other conversion that I was working on for it, I might have talked about, might not, was my 22 conversion. This started out as a government model. I didn't get a commander size, and the reason was I got it used at a gun show. I think I paid $125 for it, and it was actually for a different series. I had to do some mods to this. The main mod I had to do, since this was for a 45, was to open the channel up in the opposite direction towards the firing pin, because 9mm 38 Super's farther in, so this has the ejector has a different offset than a 1911. But other than that, it fits, it works great. And for the price, the idea of the build is in the future even is maybe to pick up a Commander and a 40 or a 10 or whatever, if the price is right. I know they make the upper kits for them. They're a little pricey. That's the thing, you know. Until I can snag one up somewhere for $200, it's not going to happen. But it's one of those things where it's a good range gun. It's even a really reliable. I did a little bit of trigger work. I just cleaned it up, took some of the play out of it. Other than that, polished some parts. So I've got basically 22, 9mm, and TCM, all off the same platform. I guess the only other side note to it is these are government length barrels. You got to cut them. I have a couple of them, and this was kind of an afterthought, that they have a little bit of a bell on the end like the TCM, but the bore diameter is the same. So I think on the other one, what I'm going to do is run it long and machine it down. A friend of mine has a lathe. We can put it in, turn it down at the end to the actual barrel thickness, and then probably overbore and pour it. Why not? You know, $35 or whatever for a barrel. Tinker away. Again, that's about it. It is what it is. If you have any questions or comments, please like this and leave the stuff in the bottom, and have a good night.